Hello to all my friends. This is a continuation of the instructional videos about iMASTER brand inverters. Today we would like to talk in detail about the U1 inverter from iMASTER, specifically focusing on the various power terminals of the U1 inverter system. In the iMASTER brand, for the three-phase input of the inverter, the RS and T terminals are related to the three-phase input of the U1 inverter, and the terminals U, V, and W are related to the inverter's output, where our electric motor is connected to the U, V, and W terminals. The P positive and DB terminals are also related to connecting the braking resistor to the U1 inverter. However, for the single-phase input of this inverter, the L, N or Ln terminal is for the single-phase input of the inverter, meaning you supply one phase and neutral to the inverter. The U, V, and W terminals are the inverter's output, where the electric motor is again connected to these terminals. The P positive and DB terminals are the same terminals for the braking resistor, which is connected to the inverter. These components shown here are the primary power terminals of the U1 inverter model from the iMASTER brand. But as for the external keypad of the U1 inverter, if you specifically want to enter the internal parameter groups of the U1 inverter, you must use the PRG key, which is often labeled as prog, to successfully enter and navigate the various parameter groups of the U1 inverter. In order to access the sophisticated U1 inverter system, the function key. In order to perform this action, so to go to the groups, you must utilize the program key and to enter these groups and to gain access to one of these specific parameters, you use the function key. To move between the groups as well as between the parameters within a group, you can also use the directional up and down arrow keys. The green run button is primarily used to start the inverter directly from the keypad interface. And the red stop button is also provided for safely stopping the inverter's operation from the same keypad. Additionally, you can also clearly see a circular control dial located on the U1 inverter keypad, which you can manually rotate in order to precisely adjust the inverter's specific output frequency levels during operation. And that's the keypad of the U1 inverter. But what we specifically want to do in this tutorial video is to manually configure and adjust the frequency reference through the keypad of this inverter, and also have our operational start and stop commands controlled directly from the integrated keypad located on the U1 inverter unit. To set the frequency reference through the inverter keypad, we will first navigate the menu options. By utilizing the dedicated up and down directional buttons or the up and down joysticks, we can manually adjust the specific frequency value. First, we need to navigate into the F parameter group settings and set the value of parameter number 1 specifically to 0. If we configure this setting to 0, we can then use the inverter keypad through the up and down joysticks to precisely adjust the output frequency value displayed on the inverter keypad. That is all about the fundamental frequency reference standard. In the event that the U1 option is currently selected, it is necessary for us to configure the specific parameter F02 to a value of 2 in order to allow the inverter unit to begin operating in the forward direction. But if we instead choose to set it to 3, the inverter will start running in the reverse direction. For the purposes of this particular instructional demonstration example, we want to set the parameter F0 to 0. We want to use the inverter keypad to change the frequency value, and we also want parameter F0.2 to be set to the keypad. This essentially means that we will initiate the starting and stopping of the inverter by manually pressing the green and red buttons located directly on the inverter keypad. Additionally, we're also going to configure and establish our absolute maximum output frequency in specific internal parameter F0.3 on the U1 inverter unit. Now that we have covered various technical configurations, let's systematically apply all the settings we have learned together. We will begin by adjusting each parameter to ensure optimal performance, and then we will proceed to carry out the specific practical example we mentioned earlier. This comprehensive exercise is designed to help you understand how these individual adjustments work in harmony within a real-world scenario, allowing you to see the immediate impact of your configurations. By following this step-by-step demonstration, you will gain a much deeper insight into the workflow and be better prepared to implement these strategies. And we've also connected the U, V, and W terminals to the electric motor, meaning these terminals are the output of this inverter. The U, V, and W terminals that are connected to our electric motor. Now, working with the keypad, we said that in order to access the parameter groups of the U1 inverter, we need to do this. We can do this using the prog key. I press the prog key and you can see that the inverter's groups are now displayed for me. Now I want to switch between the different groups of the inverter. We need to do this using the up or down key. I press the up key. I've entered group A, then again group C, then group P, and so on between the groups. I can move between the groups. Now I want to enter the F parameter group. I need to press the function key to enter this parameter group. I press the function key. You can see that I've entered the F parameter group. Now here's the parameter. It's number 0. For example, if I want to go to parameter number 4, I use the up key again and reach parameter number 4. Again, to access and input a specific parameter from a group, I simply press the corresponding function key and enter that parameter. Now, to permanently save and store its new value once I have finished setting it to the desired level, I press the function key again, and my value gets successfully saved. So in order to properly access and enter the parameter groups, the program or PRG key is primarily used to move between different parameter groups using the directional up or down arrow keys located on the panel. To enter that specific group, we simply press the function key. And if we want to enter a specific parameter within a group once again, we use the function key once more. Alright, that is exactly how you work with the inverter keypad. It also features an integrated adjustment dial for fine-tuning. As we mentioned here, it's used to set the output frequency, and the run and stop buttons are used when the start-stop reference is set. We said our common source is on the inverter keypad. In this instructional example, in this video tutorial, we want to perform start and stop from the inverter keypad, meaning by using the run and stop buttons, and we also set the frequency from the inverter keypad. To set the operating frequency from the U1 series frequency inverter keypad, we said we need to enter the main F parameter configuration group. I enter the F parameter group simply by pressing the function key, as we mentioned previously. In parameter F01, we can adjust the settings. If we want to manually adjust and modify the frequency value directly from the inverter keypad, we first need to navigate to and configure the specific parameter F0120, then press the Enter key to confirm the selection. And if we want to use the inverter keypad for control, that is, to initiate the start sequence or trigger a full stop using the dedicated run and stop buttons, we previously mentioned that we need to enter parameter group F and then select the parameter identified as number 2. If this parameter is set to the value of 2, when you start the inverter unit directly from the keypad, the inverter will start the connected electric motor in the forward direction, and if it is instead set to the value of 3, the inverter will start the connected electric motor in the reverse direction. For example, I'll set it to 2, meaning as soon as I press the start button, the inverter will start the electric motor in the forward direction. To confirm and save this value, as we mentioned, we utilize the function key to save our current progress. And to return to the previous menu, we utilize the program key. Alright, now I want to configure the specific numerical value of the frequency from the keypad using the up and down arrows. Using the up and down arrows, I can change this frequency value. So right now, I will manually set it to a specific value for our test. For example, I am going to set it to exactly 18 Hz. Just as a simple example for you, I am setting it to 18. So, as you can see, now my output frequency is set to 18. If I press the green run button, my inverter will immediately start the electric motor. It will start in forward mode at a frequency of 18. I'm pressing the start button, pressing the run button. you can see that my electric motor has started in the forward direction. Now if I wanted to start in reverse, first I stop the electric motor, I enter the F parameter group and set parameter number 2 to the value 3. I set it and save it, then go back. Now, if I manually press down on the run button, the inverter will begin to operate in reverse. As you can see, I'm pressing the run button now. You can see that the direction of rotation has changed. So, in this video tutorial, we have thoroughly learned how to wire the main power terminals of the U1 inverter. Furthermore, we learned how to effectively work with the digital keypad of the U1 inverter, and we also learned the specific steps on how to set the frequency value and perform both start and stop operations using the inverter's integrated keypad MIB. This knowledge ensures you can operate the device safely. What settings do we need to configure on the U1 inverter for this?